Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin al-Mustafa wa ala alihi shurafa wa ashabihi ahali sidq wal wafa. Amma ba'd. Respected chair,
Sayın
distinguished
Başkan,
panelists,
sayın panelistler,
okay, uh, okay, distinguished speakers.
buyurun efendim başlayın.
Okay, I'll
Siz
wait for it.
başlayın. Bizler sizi duyuyoruz.
Okay, can I start?
Başlayabilir miyiz?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The abstract is that this what we are discussing is much of what Professor Oseni has mentioned is I'm echoing some of those issues he has raised in his excellently presented keynote address. And my issue here is I'm taking this to the next level of discussion. That is by introducing this topic. That is October 7. 2023 is touted as the 9/11 moment of Israel. In both these incidents, the lives lost were negligent as compared to the resultant campaign of disproportionate terror unleashed by both America and the Zionist usurper Israel, with their subservient backers in the West, killing, maiming, and displacing many thousands of innocent Muslims across the world, particularly countries like Palestine, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, India, Myanmar, Sudan, Somalia, and of course, Yemen. Crimes against humanity committed by these vile forces are so horrendous that it defies all standards of decency, morality, and legality with total impunity. None of those who perpetuated these savageries, carnages, and mayhems were brought to justice by any court of law, let alone the so-called International Criminal or Court of Justice that holds the bragging rights to go after leaders of independent countries who stood to defer and challenge the hegemony of world arrogance that is hiding behind democracy and rule of law. It is now evident without any shred of doubt that these two carnages and many more were committed with full knowledge of their respective intelligence institutions, who were complicit in one way or the other for the occurrence of these events in pursuit of their own self-interest. Mounting proofs have been established by fair-minded and humanly conscious people were deliberately discarded and discredited while they were silenced and sidelined by the power of media that is in collusion with this. International institutions were prostituted and proscribed from taking decisive actions to bring the perpetrators of these crimes to justice. International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court have been rendered clueless, gutless, toothless, and worthless by the recalcitrant attitude of the powerful countries. Even those who had some humanity in them were ridiculed and condemned by the world hegemon and its lieutenants by demanding their resignation for stating the obvious truth. So, with this introduction, my paper will cover following item. That's I will be discussing on Sharia, understanding its unity within its diversity, International Court of Justice, the genesis, ideals, and realities, and then towards an International Islamic Court of Justice maqasidic framework, how that has been done. Then I will be going for the conclusion. Now we talk about understanding, this is an issue where we have to be very passionate about, because it is here we have not seen eye to eye among our brothers. So we begin to look down on other madhabs and all this thing. So what I would say is that since we need to have some commonality of identity, that is called Islamic orthodoxy. That includes the four Ahl Sunnah madhab, there along with Zaydis, Imamis, Ibadis, and some moderate Ismailis, because all of us are converging on the same source, that is the Sharia, which is composed of Quran and Sunnah. Okay, so since our point of agreement should be on these three aspects, that is the oneness of God, the finality of the prophethood, and the eschatology. So if these three things are agreeable, I think there should not be any issue in conversion, because we are looking into the peripheral issues and forgetting the central issue which bond us together. So that, I think, we should be the first one. Now we are looking into International Court of Justice genesis, ideals, and realities. As you can see from this one, it started in what we call the IIC. IIC started in 1919 with the Paris Peace Conference proposed to International Criminal Court to prosecute political leaders and other individuals accused of international crimes. And then it proceeded up to that. And now it was what we call in 1994, final draft of the International Criminal Court presented to the General Assembly, and the Rome Statutes was duly adopted. Following 60 ratification, the Rome Statute came into force in 2002, thereby formally establishing the International Criminal Court. Ever since the coming into existence of this criminal court, they were only what we call penalizing or bringing the people to the court. It's not the people actually perpetrated the crime; those who have, there's people who are on the peripheral of the issue. So far, those who have committed the crimes have not been brought to justice. Particularly like people like Mr. Bush, Mr. Blair, and all these people, they are going scot-free and lecturing the world on how the world should be run. So this is not, that has disadvantage. It has put these institutions into what we call questionable as to its real function and its intent, because it seems that they are out there to punish those who are lesser powerful one. That it is not the right thing to do, because we feel that the justice should be seen done and not just preached. So what is happening in the International Court of Justice is it's a selected few of individuals who have sitting there and passing judgment on third world countries. But the real perpetrators of crimes in the West, they have gone scot-free, except for the case in Bosnia, where they have punished the, what they call the Serbians, generals and all these people. But what they have failed to do also, they have not brought to justice those people who witnessed the crime committed against the poor Bosnians in Srebrenica. And they are particularly the people in Hague. Dutch military generals were witnessing the slaughter of innocent people. So I think that itself is a root cause why there is a need for Muslims to have their own the International Court of Justice. In that, as you can see this in this slide, there are two courts were there: International Criminal Court. Another one is International Court of Justice. One was established in 1946, and the other one was in 2002. So they have placed it in Hague. But the people from there is the one who witnessed the crime committed against the Bosnians. And then you can see all this thing has been, which is widely available in the internet. Okay, let's go to the next one. And okay, now why is the need for International Islamic Court of Justice? And as Dr. Hussaini has mentioned, Muslim form 1/4 of the world population with 2.2 billion people, nearly 60 independent Muslim state with significant population of Muslims living as minority in many non-Muslim countries. Human rights laws provide space for Muslims to exercise their freedom to express their religious right. In many cases referred to ICJ, Muslims' concerns were not given a fair hearing due to lack of expertise in interpreting Islamic law within the context of international law. Okay, excellent. Okay, this is the trajectory of what they call progress we have made. In establishing the International Islamic Court of Justice, as the Professor Dr. Hussaini has ably covered the whole thing. But as you can see, that by 1987, the whole thing was. The effort was postponed because of they are waiting to ratify, and that ratification process is still taking long, and that's the problem which is causing the delay in establishing this International Court of Justice, because International Islamic Court of Justice is been the origin has gone back in 1972, but up till now it has not come into fruition because of the internal instability and the unwillingness on the part of the leadership to ensure that justice is delivered. Because many of the leaders are themselves, culpable, and they are also involved in a lot of crimes against their own Muslim population. So naturally they will not be willing to see justice done. So that needs to be addressed, because they are the stumbling block in ensuring that International Islamic Court of Justice is not established, because they have to hold themselves accountable for what they have done. Okay, then let's go into the next one. So this is my proposal, even though the Islamic Court of Justice has been there, but I feel that it is not, we need to have two aspects. That is, the Islamic Court of Justice must have Muslim majority states and also Muslim minority states, because we have got increasing number of Muslims are migrating to minority countries to stay away from persecution and all kind of things happening within their Muslim country. So they have already a large portion of Muslims are already settled there, and they also need to be their problems need to be addressed. So I feel that by next year, I hope we will have both these things will be established. And also we need to have these three languages as what we call the language of the court, that is Arabic, English, and French. And relationship, what we call with the United Nations, I feel that United Nations, which should also hold some kind of we should be involved with the United Nations one, but on condition that the Muslim country is given a permanent seat, and that must be also with a veto power, because otherwise it will be a total waste of our effort. Because everywhere we are handicapped. We have not been given due, despite having the 1/4 of the population. We are denied justice there. And we need to have at least one Muslim country representing the interests of Islam and Muslims at the Security Council. Okay, and also this we feel that and we have to drive authorities from Islamic law and Majma' al-Fiqh, that is in Jeddah. And here also we will have Islamic law, and all this thing will be done. And I propose that it is not also my proposal. I came to know that the idea of establishing the location will be in Bait al-Maqdis. That will be the best place, because that's where the justice need to be done. But at the moment, we are having a problem due to the persecution of Palestinians by the brutal Jewish population. So that can be temporarily housed in Kuwait and in Qatar. Why I choose Qatar? Because Qatar has established itself as a neutral ground, and also have successfully defended as being a people moderating and also mitigating the problem between the parties concerned. They have successfully conducted themselves, and I think that should be the place for listening the problem of Muslim minority states. So then these are the scope of the works you can see, which is same as the rest of it. And I propose that there must be 5 judges knowledgeable in Sharia, representing the various madhahib, elected for 5-year terms, each by a member state. This is for the majority country. Well, this one here, judges also will be knowledgeable in Sharia and international law, elected for and from different nations. Okay. And the funding is concerned, I say that we need to get funding from the Islamic Fiqh Academy. They have got a Waqf fund, and that should be certain funds should be contributed, and also voluntary contribution from the Muslim individuals, corporation, especially from Muslim majority country. And as for the minority one, Waqf, there must be some kind of a world Waqf fund, and also a crowdfunding on the basis of case-to-case basis, and voluntary contribution from individual, corporation, etc., from Muslim minority countries. And this all there. So I'm proposing some kind of a approximate budget for starting this project. Okay, next. All right, this is the core issue of the Maqasidic framework, because whether it is human rights or whatever modern issues, that should be that should fit within the structure of the Maqasid. So if you look into it, the religion is not one item separate from the rest of the Maqasid. It is every decision a Muslim make is pertaining to his religion, whether it's pertaining to nafs, that is life, intellect, or nasl, or ird, or mal. It's all pertaining to our relation with religion. So I have excluded the religion and put it in the central theme of our what do you call maqasid. So in fact, if you look into the earth, the Prophet ﷺ had to what they call expel the Jews because of disparaging the dignity of a Muslim. So that was a case of ird. What we have failed to do in so far is that in discussing this maqasid, we have overlooked ird and put it under the nasl. So as a result, what happened? What is happening in all kind of crimes against Muslims is they were targeting the dignity of Muslim ummah and Muslim women and all this. So that needs to be given its due recognition, and that is a serious issue. So I feel that in maqasid, we have to ensure that two aspects must be there. That is the hifz, the protection, and the preservation. And that should be, we have to detail out all the laws in light of this structure and said the issue of a commission, omission. And this should be applied to both, both Muslim majority and minority situation. And then, next one, please. Okay. The conclusion, the way forward will be first to have at least one seat for OIC as a permanent member with veto power in UN. Second, OIC will decide which Muslim country will represent at UN. That's the position. And also, we want to ensure that a military union amongst Muslim countries that is based on an attack on one is an attack on all is necessary. Because without military power, we will not be getting the justice. Okay, strong financial contribution to International Islamic what they call Court of Justice through member contribution by expanding the Islamic Fiqh Academy Waqf, and providing legal expert training to Muslims on international administration of justice, and also exposing the fuqaha to contemporary geopolitical, geo-economic, and geostrategic realities. And I'm dedicating this presentation to the thousands of lost life in Gaza. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.